Oh wow, look at these great crisps.
Oh, I love a good crisp.
Oh yeah, cool man. I love crisps.
Always the room for crisp.
I fucking love crisps. They're so fucking nice.
Me too, Mark. Me too. Oh, crisp.
G'day guys, Nate here, coming at you with the Round 8 preview of Collingwood v Geelong, Saturday night at the MCG, 7:35pm start. I am recording this on a Wednesday night for a Thursday morning upload, so again, please forgive me yet again for failing to meet my own expectations here on uploading this preview on time. Every time I announce when I'm going to upload a preview video, a curveball gets thrown in my way, puts me off entirely, so I do apologise for all of this. It's being uploaded a day later than usual. Still uploading the preview video with time to spare, so I promise not to make any more announcements on my preview videos or when I'm going to upload a video days in advance. So in what was supposed to be a top 4 clash here between Collingwood and Geelong, it's just a regular old contest right now. Collingwood sitting on top right now, Geelong somehow losing to Carlton and falling to 7th spot on the AFL ladder. I'm not sure what was up with Geelong in that performance against Carlton, but to be fair, I'm going to give Geelong forward line a mulligan here against Carlton. Their forward 50 pressure was basically non-existent. They're better than that, Geelong, their forward 50 pressure. And the delivery inside forward 50 against Carlton was very, very shocking, very poor, very unexpert, very unprofessional, very un-Geelong-like, if that's such a thing. I'll give the Cats forward line a mulligan here, but their midfield group, they got absolutely slaughtered against Carlton's midfield. It makes this game against Geelong even more intriguing because I guarantee you Geelong's not going to dish up that performance against Collingwood here compared to what they did against Carlton. It's not even going to be worse as well. They're going to step up. They're going to turn the chicken up against us here. We know about the powerhouse that is Geelong, only missing finals twice since the end of 2006, 4 premierships in that time, a total of 6 grand final appearances, 6 prelim final appearances as well. They're going to always be in the premiership mix as usual. Right now, we're on top of the AFL ladder. Just to be clear, Collingwood's on top of the AFL ladder. Geelong somehow falling to 7th. They could have stayed inside the top 4 against Carlton, or by beating Carlton, but no, they decided to lose that game instead. But they're still a 5 to 8 range team right now with a chance to make inroads again on the top 4. They had a decent win streak as well, with decent victories as well. So they're looking to start that again and hopefully get back into the top 4. But I do think Geelong has a free swing here against Collingwood. So like the game against Essendon last week, we need to be prepared to face an onslaught against Geelong to bounce back, or for Geelong to bounce back, for Geelong to execute their game plan, for Geelong to convert their chances as well. Last time we played Geelong, we lost by 20 points. It was one of those rare lackluster games compared to what we typically produced against them, as well as a general overall game as well for the neutral fans to love and enjoy. Maybe I'm just being skeptical and being a negative asshole about it because we lost the game. They've got the recent head-to-head over us, particularly in the last 20 years as well. Surprisingly, though, this has not been a one-sided contest. You might see streaks of 3 wins in a row against one another, possibly 4, but very rarely does one side say to the other side, they always kick our ass, or this is not a rivalry, they always kick our ass, and yada, yada, yada. It's not a big rivalry compared to a Collingwood or a Carlton or a Geelong v Hawthorn or anything like that. It's still a big contest, still a big clash every time we play. Just comparing the pair and the key stats between both sides here, it is surprising to see Collingwood rank low in some stats. For example, disposals overall, or total disposals, marks, rebounding from 50 as well. The goal accuracy, I'm not so surprised about. We still rank 3rd lowest or 16th for accuracy in front of goal. Up to 46% though. A few weeks ago, it was bloody 35%. We got it up to 40%. Now it's up to 46%. We are edging closer to that magical 50% mark. Only twice for Geelong have they kicked below 50% goal accuracy. 12 goals, 14 against Hawthorn a couple of weeks ago, and 12 goals, 13 against Melbourne. They're currently on a 9-goal run as well, without scoring a point. They were 3 goals, 4, 22 at one point against Carlton. They finished on 12 goals, 4, 76. So we've got to be able to counteract Geelong's forward 50 pressure, which I'll touch on a little bit later. They're going to take their chances. There was one game a few years ago where they kicked 16 goals, 1, finished the game 16-6 against us. So we've got to be able to counteract Geelong's forward line pressure and as well as their forward line performance overall. We've got to have some key matchups covered in the midfield as well. Bailey Smith and Max Holmes, they're the 2 main midfielders for Geelong right now, and they've got quite a few supporting players as well. We cannot allow Geelong's midfielders to beat our midfielders. If we're going to lose this game, I want to see Collingwood's midfielders beat Geelong's midfielders here. It would make this loss more painful, but hopefully you get my drift on that. I want to see guys like Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, still side bottom Pendlebury, play better than guys like Bailey Smith, Max Holmes. As I said before, I am giving Geelong's forward line a mulligan against Carlton. Jeremy Cameron, Shannon Neal, Patrick Dangerfield, Tyson Stengel, Brad Close, Ollie Henry, yes, the bitch boy as well. I'm going to mention him despite him being the sub. all get a special individual mulligan from me. I'm expecting all 6 of those players to have a better performance here compared to how they performed last week. Now, it's a big call to make because Jeremy Cameron still kicked 4 goals against Carlton, but Jeremy Cameron loves playing against Collingwood. 16 games he has played against us in his career, 60 goals. I'm fully expecting a bag from Jeremy Cameron in this game. I'm also expecting another bullshit goal from the boundary line, and that boundary goal will be either to sink Collingwood or to prove that we can never put these fuckers away. But if there was one player that's going to be the point of difference in this game, and it's going to be a fucking obvious one, it's Nick Dacos. Maybe not so much on how Nick Dacos performs in this game. I mean, he had 30 plus disposals last week and didn't get an Anzac Day vote. It's more about how I expect Geelong to prepare for Nick Dacos. I am expecting a hard tag on Nick Dacos, and they've got 2 options in doing so. Tom Atkins and Mark O'Connor, both very hard taggers as well. Tom Atkins leads the AFL this season for tackles, and there's daylight between him and second spot right now. It's that ridiculous. I am expecting a hard tag on Nick Dacos, which means it's going to put pressure on our midfield group to step up and respond in Nick Dacos being tagged here. We can't expect Pendlebury and Sidebottom at their ages in 2025 to keep this level up. We can't expect Ned Long to continue being a hidden gem in the midfield. We need to have those role players step up. We can't have any midfield passengers in this game. Now, just on our injury list, Darcy Moore, thankfully, is deemed available for this game, and it's a big game to return as well. Likely has the job of Jeremy Cameron, but more importantly, we need his leadership down back again. We're still first for defence overall for points scored against us. While we haven't conceded over 80 points in a game since opening round, we're up against a dynamic forward line against Geelong. We'll need every bit of Darcy Moore's leadership for this game. We've got Lockie Schultz still listed as a test, 50-50 for this game against Geelong, almost a certainty to return against Fremantle. I'm half expecting Schultz in next week to replace Jordan Ngoe with Craig McRae, basically hinting, or it's the world's worst kept secret, that Jordan Ngoe is going to be rested for next week. Dan McStay, out for 6 to 8 weeks with the MCL. Tom Mitchell, I'm going to mention Tom Mitchell because still no official timeline on his return. However, straight from his mouth on the Ball Magnets recent episode, his own words, he's expecting to return via the VFL in the next month, so at some point late in May. So we should get some clarity on a Tom Mitchell return soon. I mean, right now, Ned Long is playing Tom Mitchell's role perfectly right now, doing a very good job. Tom Mitchell will provide at least midfield depth for us later in the season. He's been out for over a year. He hasn't played since Anzac Day last year, so I am looking forward to Tom Mitchell's future return and hopefully gives us even more selection headaches down the line. But speaking of selection headaches, Dan McStay out for 6 to 8 weeks again with the MCL injury. Darcy Moore deemed available. We've got Lockie Schultz, that's 50-50. And we've got Mason Cox as well, likely to replace Dan McStay. There's going to be at least one change for this game. I am expecting Craig McRae to select Mason Cox up forward for his height and also to handle Reece Stanley, Sam De Koning and Mark Blitzarves in the ruck. We need to give a chop out to Darcy Cameron. He can't do that on his own. If Schultz is also deemed available for this game, it beats me on who's going to get dropped for this one. And if it's going to be 3 in and 3 out, Darcy Moore, Mason Cox, Lockie Schultz all in, I'm expecting Dan McStay, I mean, that's an obvious one, but also Lockie Sullivan and unfortunately Will Hoskin-Elliott to be omitted for this one. Bit harsh on guys like Sullivan and Will Hoskin-Elliott. Unless they feel the need to rest some players like Jack Crisp. No, I'm just kidding. I'm expecting Darcy Moore to be in for McStay, Cox in for probably Sullivan or Will Hoskin-Elliott, and I wouldn't be surprised if Lockie Schultz is going to be playing next week instead of this week. Now, I just mentioned Jack Crisp earlier. I'd be remiss to not mention anything on Jack Crisp in this video. He's about to break Jim Stein's record for most consecutive VFL AFL games played in history, 245 and counting. Unless there's an injury at training or a selection bombshell or food poisoning or a car crash heading into the MCG or a late injury in the warm-up or anything that's going to sabotage Jack Crisp's big day, I'm only going to this game, by the way, to see Jack Crisp walk onto the ground, confirm his place in this game, then probably head home. I mean, who cares about the game? The result is irrelevant. Congratulations to Jack Crisp, 245 consecutive games and counting. Not bad for a pair of steak knives, eh? And while we're on the topic of player celebrations, Bobby the Hill has extended his contract to 2030, meaning everything is coming up Collingwood right now. On top of the AFL ladder, players breaking records, players in peak form again. Bobby Hill extending his contract to 2030. Bobby Hill hasn't met his All-Australian expectations of mine right now, but he's still such a fun player to watch. If it's not his day, it's his moment, creating chances, being a very selfless player as well for his teammates. But that goal last week against Essendon, that was probably the moment that he decided to stay at Collingwood until 2030. So well done to Bobby Hill. And it's such a testament as well to Collingwood's culture right now for players like Bobby Hill to feel welcomed by the club and also his family feeling welcomed as well. Just a good thing to see. But anyway, just to conclude this video and this preview of this game and do the inverse of my preview video of the Brisbane game, so more game preview and less player glazing, but to be fair, this video seems like a perfect mix of both, if you ask me. For this game against Geelong, I'll be there. It's going to be a huge contest. It's a chance to go 7 in a row. If we lose this game, we fall to second or possibly third, but if we beat Geelong, we continue to kick names and take some ass here. We've got a 5-day break afterwards with a trip to Perth to take on Fremantle. It makes the 4 points in this game even more important. But the last thing we want with an aging list is injuries, form slumps, and playing catch up like we did last year. This game, very important to get the 4 points, keep our winning streak alive, and just remain on top. We're on a good run right now. We're staying modest for the time being. Geelong's the best fourth quarter side in the competition, and we're the best third quarter side in the competition. First halves neck and neck, slightly on Geelong's side. So for Collingwood in this game, let's start like a house on fire in a positive way. I hate that term, house on fire, but let's start on fire and let's finish with a blaze of glory. But to conclude my video, again, subscribe to my channel, give the video a like, share this and recommend it to your work colleague who wants to make fun of me and my voice. In the meantime, though, please be well, please stay safe, make fires out.
Oh, Chris.